Welcome on in, everybody. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. You're beautiful, and I love you. If you could subscribe, that'd be great. And appreciate you stopping by. We boots on the ground tomorrow for Heat and Hawks. Very much looking forward to being back at the friendly confines of the Kaseya Center. And very disappointed to learn that Jovic, dude. Nikola Jovic. We get official word on his injury. The Serbian Terminator is going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. Here is the statement from the Miami Heat on Nico's injury. This says, the Heat announced today that forward Nikola Jovic was evaluated by Chief of Hand Surgery, Dr. Elizabeth Ann Ouellette, in collaboration with Heat team physician Dr. Harlan Selznick at Doctors Hospital Surgery Center in Miami. It was determined that Jovic suffered a fracture of the second metacarpal of his right hand. He will be in a splint and reevaluated in 4 weeks. And so that is the deal. So he is out a month at least and will be reevaluated. So by our time, that'll leave the Miami Heat in a situation where, you know, we're looking at about a handful of games left on the season. If he were to come back by, let's just say, a month today is actually the return of Jimmy Butler, ironically. That would be, but I guess technically it's a little less because, you know, February is squirrely with their lack of days. So let's say, on the safe side, let's just call it the end of March. That would leave the Heat with April with 7 games left in April if he were to be able to make a return. And remind you that it says reevaluated in 4 weeks. Doesn't mean he's ready. I don't know how long he's going to be in a splint. I don't know how long it's thought of that he, what the realist, and then, the realistic part of it is it's, the Miami Heat right now are at a situation with their season. Will there be enough time for him to come back? Will there be logic for him to come back? That's what we're going to have to find out. But disappointing overall, just because obviously you guys, I think, know on this channel in particular and on my radio show, huge fan of the young man. I think that he has a very, very bright future ahead of him basketball-wise. I enjoy watching Nikola Jovic play basketball a lot. I would venture to say he's probably my favorite guy to watch on the team. Tall time, enjoy all of that. Enjoyed seeing some of the adversity that he's been through, and I just think a good souled person, just seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's just the energy that Nico has with the way he goes about professional basketball, just plays with a joy. Very, very nice and friendly with fans, like interacts with kids and fans while he's warming up and things like that. And so to lose Nico is a bummer. It really, really is, not just from a basketball standpoint, but it just sucks. It just sucks, flat out. Meanwhile, Bam Adebayo is also a question mark. He has a right calf contusion, so he is a question mark to be available for this game against the Atlanta Hawks, this home and home. I can't imagine the Miami Heat are going to shoot worse than they did, but, can't rule out anything with this team. The good news is Kevin Love is going to be available. He's done with the personal time from the road trip, so he will be able to be available. I'd imagine Kevin Love's going to get a little bit of run, I think. Especially, if Bam can't go for sure, I mean, I wouldn't even rule out the idea of throwing him in the starting lineup. But I would imagine he's probably going to get a little run ski. Maybe not the best matchup for him, especially a guy who hasn't played a lot of basketball to go against this athletic-ass Atlanta Hawks team. But, no Jovic, no Bam. If that is the case, then they're going to be in a place where their size is going to be a bit of an issue, and they certainly got banged up. You guys heard me talk about this with the Khalil Ware thing, which, look, by the way, as an aside, so we did more dissecting of this on the radio show today about the cut on the hand. I know exactly why I missed this happen during the game. So he did cut his hand. I don't think it was like a major cut, though. I don't think that's why he didn't play in the fourth quarter. I don't think that's the reason. I don't have clarity on that, but I don't think it's the reason. But I do know why I missed it. And the reason was it was exactly after Duncan Robinson fouled Terrence Mann, and I shouted, "Oh, this," and threw something because I'm a child, and that caused me to just you ever have like one of those moments where like you're watching a game and something happens and you just need to walk away from the screen or walk out of the room wherever you are just for a minute to gather yourself and get things right. So that's where I was, and that's where I was at. But he is dealing with an ankle thing. I don't know if that also played into it, but I tend to still lean into, I think Erik Spoelstra was upset with something. I'm going to lean into what I read tweeted, that he had gotten a bit of the business in a timeout, and that, he just didn't go with him in the fourth quarter. He just wasn't going to go with that role. Kyle Anderson, he was happy with the way that he was playing, and that's the decision they made. I didn't agree with it, but here we are. This is interesting. So the Miami Herald did a deep dive from the Heat's collapsing in the fourth quarter, and man, I mean, it's really bad. You guys could go look at like the whole thing. It's broken down by Anthony Chang and Barry Jackson with the Miami Heat fourth quarter numbers. But it's haunting to see what they have done. But the Miami Heat, check this out. I'll just read the first bit of it, and then you guys can go check out the rest of it. For the past two seasons, the Heat have often made a habit of unraveling in the third quarter. Now it's the fourth quarter that's consistently dooming Miami. The numbers are staggering. Over the past 11 games, Miami's been outscored 313 to 216 in the fourth quarter. That's included lopsided margins against Chicago, Brooklyn, Oklahoma City, and Milwaukee. During that stretch, Miami outscored its opponent in the fourth quarter only once, and that was during extended garbage time in an 18-point loss to Boston. And then there's this. Since January 1st, the Heat's been by far the league's worst fourth quarter team in point differential, outscored by 92 points. The next closest, the Brooklyn Nets at minus 64. Jeez Louise. And then it goes into, this all kind of started with Jimmy Butler's absence, which happened basically on New Year's Eve. And just go check out the rest of it. I'll link it in the description so you guys can go read this horror story written. And love it. Love Anthony. Love Barry. It's a horror story that they've written. Oh, Jesus. Brutal. Really, really bad. But you guys can go check it out. It's it's something, dude. It is something. It is wow. I don't even know what to do with that. I don't even know what to do with that, dude. Outscored by 92 points in the fourth quarter, and the next closest team is 64. And it's the Nets. Crazy. One other piece of news here, and do with this what you will, but we did a video this morning about the presence of Cooper Flagg at the Miami Heat facility. The Duke Blue Devils were getting ready for the Miami Hurricanes, who, as I do this, are thumping the Miami Hurricanes, which, is no great accomplishment. I mean, the Miami Hurricanes basketball team is really bad this year. Really, really, really awful. There's about 12 minutes left in the game. As I record this, Cooper Flagg has 14 points, 6 and 9, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and is rolling along, doing his thing. But how about this? This is interesting. Erik Spoelstra. Erik Spoelstra is in the building to watch versus Duke. And no disrespect to the Canes, because I know Spo has had a long-standing relationship with former Canes coach Jim Larinaga, and the Canes and a lot of the Heat players work out at Cool. But apparently Micky Arison is there as well. As we know, Micky and Nick, big ties to the Duke program. One has to wonder, if the Miami Heat are, they're just riffing there, right? Just having a night, enjoying a little basketball, enjoying a little hoops. But it's impossible, and I don't even think it's that big of a leap, to take a little looky-loo at what's going on with Canes and Duke right now. Oh, Erik Spoelstra decides in the midst of this, hey, go watch a little college hoops, and you're watching the hometown team get killed. We know what they're there to go see. And one has to wonder, could this be a time where the Heat are actually thinking about? Now, look, it's not really in their hand. What are the odds came out today? I think the Heat have like a 2-3% chance right now, currently in the lottery, if things were to go as they stand, and they're 9th in the East and would have to win a couple of games to get into the playoffs. Otherwise, they would be in the lottery and they would get their pick back from OKC. They still owe that pick, but it's lottery protected. It was supposedly a stacked draft. I haven't really deep dove into it, but everybody knows Cooper Flagg's that dude. That's who everybody's looking at. And look, the Miami Heat are at a point where they need a guy who is like going to make a difference. Like, they've done a great job of drafting, with Nico and Kalel and certainly Bam and Tyler. They've mostly knocked it out of the park, and hopefully Jaime Jaquez gets back on track. But it is interesting that the things Erik Spoelstra decides to do with his first day home is to go see Cooper Flagg in person. Very interesting. And look, there are some out here who are saying that this is a sneaky tank. Like, let's be real about it. You're getting outscored over the year of 2025. You're getting outscored by 92 points in the fourth quarter, 30 more basically than any other team in basketball. And some in the basketball streets are wondering, is Erik Spoelstra, is he pulling off a sneaky tank? Like, they would never do it. As an organization, it's like it's against everything that's in their fiber of their being, right? But maybe Erik Spoelstra is such an assassin. Is it crazy? Maybe I make an excuse for him, but is it crazy to think that this man is just blowing it? Like, he is junking up rotations. He's been throwing Terry Rozier out there. He's been making terrible rotational choices. He's been running out of timeouts. He refuses to challenge plays. They've been blowing leads by double digits, 20 points, 15 points, 16 points, 17 points. Is it, and mind you, some of the wins that they have are against like the bottom feeders of the league. And they're like scraping to get to those wins. This is the greatest, this is the best coach in the league. You don't think this guy can pull that off? This man, I've seen this man put bubble gum and duct tape and mulch together and have a beautiful wood sculpture come through because of like Henry Walker, Michael Beasley on his fourth stint, Hassan Whiteside and Luke Babbitt and Rodney Magruder, and put together more competitive Heat teams than I'm seeing right now. You don't think this man, a savant, is it really past Erik Spoelstra's mind to pull off a sneak tank? I don't know. I know what they would say. They would deny it to the high heavens. But I don't know, man. It's just been too bad this year. to the point where you're almost like, are they fixing fights? Are they taking a dive? Is the ref on the take? You know, you have a point guard who's under investigation. And then you think about the whole thing with the Jimmy Butler thing, right? And you're like, you know, Erik Spoelstra had this weird thing where he was like not acknowledging it, wouldn't say Jimmy's name. But then afterwards was like, oh, I loved it. Loved it. I was like, why? You loved it? That's kind of an odd reaction to have. You loved it? You loved it? Maybe Erik Spoelstra's in the foxhole right now. Him and Micky, they got the general helmets on right now. They go boop, boop, boop. They got some sonar going. Did I just make them in the Navy? Did I put them in the submarine? The point is, dude, Micky Arison's cruise is one of them has to have a submarine linked to it, you would think, right? A billionaire who's basically the modern day King Pirate, all right? The King Neptune, who's got all these cruise ships. You're telling me when you got $10 billion or whatever the hell Micky Arison has, he doesn't have a doomsday submarine? All these rich people with their doomsday plans and islands and all they got, Micky Arison's definitely got to have one that's nautical. I digress. The point is it crazy to think that Erik Spoelstra is taking a dive this entire time? I mean, sometimes I'm watching this and I'm like, this man is so ahead of this. I'm supposed to believe this man ran out of timeouts? And then he'll just blatantly look at stuff and be like, not challenging. And he goes, you know what, today? No Kalel wear. I'm trying to figure it out. He goes, what's Terry Rozier's plus minus? Keep him out there. Just, I don't know. These are times where your mind wanders when your basketball team is playing this poorly. But listen, playing poorly or not, it did not stop Erik Spoelstra from wanting to take a little looky-loo at old Cooper Flagg tonight. Very interesting. Very interesting.